Welcome again, everybody, to Be Creative with Miss Ria. I'm so glad that you joined me, and we're enjoying beautiful summer weather. It's July, and remember, we did our ice cream at the beginning of the month, and today we're gonna do another thing that you can learn to make, and it's so tasty and yummy, and your family and your friends will love this on a hot summer day. And so we've been all talking about colors, and we're going to talk about colors in food. And that's why I thought this would be a really fun recipe. I used to make this a long time ago when my girls were living at home and wanted something a little bit sweet. And when we were eating salsa, they didn't want to eat salsa, but I made a sweet salsa. So that's what we're going to do today. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the stickers that you find on fruits and vegetables. You might not know this, but you probably have seen them. If you've ever bought anything at the grocery store, like Miss Ria eats a lot of bananas, so here's my bananas, and there's a difference between organically grown and conventionally grown produce and fruits and vegetables and everything that we have. So you can look for those stickers, and part of my worksheet that I did for you today is the stickers where if you find some stickers as you bring your fruits and vegetables home, you have a spot where you can put them right here, and then you can really look at them, because what's really interesting is these are called the PLUs, the product lookup codes. So when you're in the grocery store and the clerk might not know if this apple is a Fuji apple or if it's a Gala apple, and all they have to do is just scan it, and this little lookup code will tell them. It'll also tell them how much it is. It also tells them, great number system, if it's organic or if it's conventionally grown. Conventionally grown is what, and it's an agricultural term that farmers use for, they use pesticides or fertilizers to grow their produce, and organic doesn't. They don't use anything, and so that's what's a little bit different. So on the product lookup code, if you want to know if that item is organic, it will always have a 9 before it, the number. And if it has the 9, it means that it's organically grown. If it doesn't have the 9, then it will just have a 4-digit number. So the organically grown is 5 digits, and the conventionally is 4 numbers. So, and also that little sticker will also tell you where the product was grown. So Miss Ria has on my table right here, I have some apples that were grown. One of them is organic and one of them isn't. And the same with my bananas. They're both different. And they were both organic and conventionally grown, but they were both grown in Ecuador. And it's kind of fun to see where your produce comes from and the different companies. Like I bought some navel oranges, and one was Sun Pacific and one was Kings River. So, and my limes were in Mexico. So it's kind of fun to just maybe save those little stickers, and then you can look up that code and you can find out if you want more information on this. There's a good website that gives you a little bit more about that lookup code. And the lookup code, a long time ago, was developed by the Produce Electronic Identification Board. Don't they sound serious? And another one thing that I wanted to tell you was the stickers that are put on the food items they use a special food grade adhesive. So it's not like they're using Elmer's glue or hot glue or anything. They're using a kind of adhesive that is okay for food. So you never have to worry about, like, if you don't get it all off. You can't eat the sticker, but you know that they've done that. So they're always probably trying to improve that, right? So anyway, so on that note, that's what's on just a fun little project that you can do. So today, like I said, we're going to make this awesome sweet salsa. And the recipe, again, is on the back of our worksheet, and it is so delicious. So I'm going to share, I've shared with you all of the colors. You can see these beautiful colors of fruits and vegetables that you might be eating. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this awesome salsa. And this great recipe has these chips, because you always need chips when you're making a salsa, right? So I'm going to show you how to make your own chips, and they're a cinnamon brown sugar chip, and they're delicious. So I'm going to just move all of my vegetables over here, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with the chips. So this is like I said, a fun snack that you can make the night before, and then in the next day, is, you know, it's the end of July. In August it gets really hot, and maybe you just want a refreshing little snack for the summer. So what you need to make the chips is whole wheat tortillas, and they come, and they're these little street taco size is what I've used. So you're going to get that. You're going to have your tortilla, and you are also going to need a little bit of brown sugar and some yummy smelling cinnamon. Who doesn't love that? And if you have ever used things that don't stick to your pans when you're cooking, this spray is really nice. It's cooking spray, and you're gonna just use that to spray onto the tortilla. So I'm gonna show you how easy this is. And this recipe calls for 1/4 cup of brown sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon. So you can, and that will make, you'll make 6 tortillas with that, these little wheat tortillas. So all you have to do is use your little spray, and you just spray that on each side of your tortilla, and that's gonna make the brown sugar just stick to it, and you're just gonna sprinkle it on there. And what you're gonna do is just spread it around so it's nice and covered, and then you just can pat it and just press it in there. There you go. And then flip it over, and then do that again. And like I said, this little recipe makes about 6 of these tortillas is what the recipe is. So you can always double it or triple it, or however many. If you're going to have a lot of people over, you can always increase your recipe. So then after you do that, then all you have to do is just cut it into so it looks like a chip. So depending on how big you want your chips, I could cut this in quarters. But if it looks like the tortilla is a little bit big, I've done this where I make them a little bit smaller. So I can have them like that, or I can have them big. And that is all you have to do. And all you have to do with that is just put it in the oven for 10 minutes at 350, and the whole house will smell yummy. It just smells so good when you're cooking something with cinnamon on it. So after you get them all done, and I made a whole batch earlier, and this is what they look like. So Miss Ria has a great little pad that I put in when I bake cookies. It's a little baking pad, and so look at these crispy, yummy chips. They're ready to be eaten. They're just so delicious, and they just come right off of there, and they're ready to go. So you can have those when you're ready to eat. You can have these, and you can also just have some store-bought salty chips if you want to, but these are really good with the salsa that we're gonna make. So that's how you make the cinnamon chips, which is really fun. So our salsa recipe is we're going to be using strawberries, and we're going to be using some grapes and a pear and some mint. And then we're gonna mix that all together with some strawberry preserves, sugar-free strawberry preserves. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just show you right here. When I'm cooking, I've kind of got these measurements already done for us, so I don't have to stand here and cook all this or put it all together, but you'll see how we're gonna mix it. I always, when I'm in the kitchen, I always like to have a little bowl that I put my scraps in, because I don't throw them away. I just go outside and give them to my chickens. You know, I have chickens, don't you? So they always get the scraps and they love it. They love, especially the strawberry scraps. They love that. So what we're gonna do is, on our recipe, it calls for 3/4 cup of diced strawberries. So what we're going to do is, I've already got some strawberries all diced. I'm gonna just show you the strawberry. It depends on how big the strawberries are. Maybe you need about 5 or 6 big strawberries like this. It'll be plenty probably. But I just cut that. And if you're just new to cooking, when it says you have to dice something, that means they want little tiny pieces. So imagine you're going to be putting this on your tortilla chip, right? So you don't want it to be big pieces. So you might have to have some practice with that, and maybe Miss Ria can have layers of it, because I've done this enough. And you just chop it up into little, just imagine that you're going to be putting this on a chip. So you want it to be fairly small, right? So, and if you have a big hunk like that, you got to cut it in half, right? So you might have to have some help with that, but like anything else, it takes practice, doesn't it? So also on our sheet, I have some really funny jokes that are kind of food related. So I'm going to tell you the first joke, okay? All right. Why did the tomato turn red? Are you thinking about that? Why would the tomato turn red? All right, are you ready? Because it saw the salad dressing. I know it's pretty silly, but I thought it was a good joke. Okay, so we've got all of our strawberries. So we've got 3/4 cup of our strawberries, and we're gonna put that in the bowl. Already, doesn't it look delicious? I have my spoon that I can just put right there. There is our yummy strawberries that are all diced up. And the next thing that I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna take my little cutting board and just go like that, is grapes. So if you like green grapes or the nice red grapes, whatever kind of grapes you like, they both have a little bit of a different flavor. So I like to put both of them in here. And again, these are all small, really small already, but you need to cut them so that they're diced. So those grapes are the shape where they like to roll around. So you're gonna cut it in half, and then you can open it up and then cut it again. So you're gonna cut it again in half, and then you're gonna it's easy because it's flat on one side, then you can just easily chop that into those little tiny bite-sized pieces, right? Okay, all right, have another joke for you. What did Santa Claus say as he walked through the vegetable garden? What do you think he said? I hear some of you have got that. He said, "Ho, ho, ho," in the garden. Okay, so we're gonna add the grapes. Here we go. We're gonna add those yummy, yummy grapes. Look at that. A little bit of green, a little bit of red. Delicious. Okay, now you can start mixing that up, and it already looks like I want to take a bite, doesn't it? Okay, the next thing that we're going to use is we're going to use a pear. So that'll kind of make it look like an onion in the salsa, right? So I'm going to grab my pear from over on my tray. So this is a yummy, yummy pear. Who doesn't love a fresh pear, right? So it says that on this, all of these are mostly half a cup. So I'm going to cut my pear in half, and again, I don't want to have the seed or anything in the middle, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to just chop it like that. That's kind of what I do. And again, the chickens will love this. So I have that core. So about half a pear, it averages out to about a half a cup. Here is my measuring cup. If I really want to be particular about that, I can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put chop up my pear. Again, what do we want? We want those little bite-sized pieces. And then we're gonna just chop that up. And it does, when it's in the salsa, I think that's what it's supposed to maybe represent. It's maybe just to, at least that's what I think it is, some onion. So I can chop that up, really give it a fine chop. And then we're gonna add that. And just because I've done this recipe so many times, this is what I usually use. I usually have half of the pear, and then I just eat the other half, right? Because sometimes when you're cooking, you can't help yourself, can you? You have to just have a little bite of something, and it just and then of course you have to taste test. Remember, if you're doing that and you're cooking for a lot of people, you need to make sure that you don't lick your fingers and that you wash your hands if you do that. Okay, so I'm not going to be tasting anything because I'm making it for you guys, and you can see how luscious this is. So there is all of my pear all ready to go, and that's a half a cup of the pears. And okay, you ready for another joke? Okay. Why? Okay, are you ready for this one? This is a good one. Why do potatoes make good detectives? Why would a potato make a good detective? Because they keep their eyes peeled. Did you know potatoes have eyes? Maybe you didn't. Look at our salsa, how it's looking. It's looking really good. Okay, so this is the second to the last thing that you need to chop up. So mint is just so, oh, it smells so good. And you can grow mint in your garden. I have a mint plant, but you can also buy it at the store. And again, this is tells you that it's an organic mint. So you can just buy it like that, and then you just have some mint. And it just adds a little bit of that flavor. So my interpretation of this is cilantro that goes into salsa, and it's green and leafy. So I have 2 mint leaves right here. And we're going to do a technique called a chiffonade. Chiffonade is the correct way to say that. And what it is you take your mint leaves, or any leaves, when you're cutting any kind of like basil or any leaves, you take it and then you roll it up. And what you want to do is you're just rolling it all the way up. So you have a little tiny roll. Do you see that? It's so small. And then you're going to just very carefully, you're just going to just cut these little tiny strips of mint. And oh, I can smell that already. It's just so yummy. And then there you go. And you need 1/8 of a cup of this. After I've done this, because I don't like longer pieces of the mint, I like to chop it a little bit more, just to make it a little bit smaller, okay? So that's what I usually do. After I get it all rolled and it's pretty much cut. So I've already done that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, oh, there's the 2 mint leaves that I was going to cut. So there it is. I'm ready to drop that in. So that is the last thing that we have to chop. So we're going to go ahead and mix this up. And we have one more thing to bring this all together, because right now, if we put that on a chip, it's pretty much going to fall apart, right? So what we need is some strawberry preserves, and I have sugar-free, because you don't need a lot of sugar, because the strawberries and the pears and all those are all natural sugars that are already in this fruit. So we need just 1/4 of a cup of the strawberry preserves, and this is just sometimes you might need a little less or a little more. This is a 1/2 cup, but I'm going to only fill this halfway full. And this is going to just make our salsa, our sweet salsa, just kind of everything will kind of stick together. So we're going to just mix that up, and you can see how beautiful this is. And doesn't that look, I mean, if you didn't know that this was all fruit, you might think it was maybe just a regular salsa with tomatoes and onions in it, and doesn't it look delicious? Well, I'm telling you, it really is delicious. And see how now it's all kind of sticking together? That's what the strawberry preserves do. So we're all done with that. It's ready to eat. You can have some with your yummy chips that you made. I'm gonna get our chips. I'm gonna grab a few of these chips. And look at these yummy chips. And I am going to, now I can take a bite, right? And I've got my chip and I've got my salsa. Look at that, the perfect bite, right? Wait, one more joke? Oh, okay, one more joke. Okay, all right. Did you hear about the farmer who drove a steamroller over his potato field? Did you hear about that one? He wanted to raise mashed potatoes. Okay, that's my last joke. I'm gonna take a bite of this, and I hope you enjoy making this fun, sweet salsa. Have a great day. Bye-bye.